So here's a little video in case you're looking to install a blue wave above ground fence. So I just did one section. Let's do the next section together, and it's really not too bad. So what I started with is an end post. Now there are two end posts. You can tell because there are no holes on the ends of them. The rest of them, the other posts, you see how they have just slits that go all the way through. And then the two end posts, you just have an opening there, an opening there, but it's one solid piece on the opposite end. Now before we do that, so we first need to make the assembly brackets. So we have a support and a base. This slides in just like that, and you want to make sure it's nice and flush. So nice and flush. And then over to the pool, every pool is a little bit different. So in my case, I have these hollowed out vertical brackets which happen to fit perfectly inside there. The flip side is if you have something like this, okay, something like that, because the kit does include 1-inch screws that you would screw into this vertical post. In a case like this, I'm not using the 1-inch screws, just the 3/4 inch screws on the side, because if I drilled this way it would pop the liner. So that's out. Now if you can't do something like this, you would have to grab a 2x4 as an example, post it into the ground, and then attach the 2x4 to the pool, and then attach the fence to the 2x4. That's the only other way. And just basic tools: tape measure, Phillips, in my case electric screwdriver, a level to check on everything, and I'm using a 1/8 of an inch drill bit. You'll see why, just to it makes the job a little bit easier. And these are the screws that come with the kit. Here are your 1-inch, and these are 3/4 inch. So these guys really, if you are mounting anything into the pool itself, you would use the 1-inch screws, and everything else would be 3/4 inch. These are all 3/4 inch. So for this base, this makes the inserting the screw a little bit easier. Okay, just 1/8 inch drill bit, 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and what I'll do is link all of the tools below in case you need anything. So the other reason why I use a drill bit is because the electric screwdriver isn't strong enough. So by drilling pilot holes, it makes the job a little bit easier. Now these screws are also loose. Okay, I'm not tightening down everything 100% because I want to lightly fit all of the pieces together, and then as a final step, all of the screws will be tightened down. I think the hardest part is just figuring out how you mount this to your pool. Every pool, like I said, is a little bit different, but that's that. This goes to the base, lightly at this case, or in this point. Just lightly pressing it in flush. And then we just insert the bottom rail. So the way that this works, from this angle on the left, you have 2 screws that will hold it down, and then 2 screws is for this guy. Same up here, 2 screws for this guy, 2 screws for that guy. This is a little long. It's a little long on this end, so I'll just have to cut it with a hacksaw. I may just use a miter saw to make it a little bit cleaner. So you measure between the 2 posts and add 1 inch. Okay. So in my case, 61 1/4 inches. Now if you're curious, each rail measures 61 3/8 of an inch. these down, fasten them down, and then we'll check everything with a level. Okay. Whoops. Okay. So it's not too bad. It takes a little finagling, but ultimately you just do it around the entire perimeter. The only thing I need to figure out, and I'll come back in a couple days, right here is where we have the steps, so I just have to figure out how to mount some hinges, a lock, but other than that, not too bad. And this is what it looks like once it's completed. It took me roughly an hour per section. It takes time to cut, make sure you're level, everything's tight. It does take some time, some finagling, but just take your time and you'll be able to do it. Regarding my ladder, it's just too big. So what I've been doing, I bought these hinges off Amazon. I'll link these below. These are terrific. So these are held in by 4 screws. So I just remove these 4 screws and the entire section. And that way, if I want to jump in the pool, have some friends over, I then fasten down the pool ladder to this platform. Once I'm done, I just bolt everything back up. It sounds, you know, a little time consuming, but within 5 minutes, everything is done. This latch is way too small. I just have to get a bigger latch. But other than that, not too bad. And if you are, or you have to use 2x4s, in my case, I just cut the length so the top here is wedged to the top of this platform underneath, so it's tight here and at the ground real solid. It's not going anywhere. I have one more over there as well. So that's what it looks like. Hope this helps someone looking to get this done, and thank you for watching.